Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Big East Rewind, where my partner and I talk all about the greatest basketball conference in college basketball, the Big East. We are kind of the historians of the Big East, and that's what the show's all about. I am your 7-foot host, Chuck Everson, and my partner, as always, the shooting guard. Well, he was a point guard and then became a shooting guard at Syracuse, Sonny Sparrow. How are you, Sonny? How you doing?
I'm good, Chuck. When Pearl comes into your locker room, you better become a shooting guard.
Well,
That's
you
very
know,
simple.
yeah, I get it. And especially a guy like that. You
Yep.
can't argue that. Can't argue that.
We got another guard in the house. We got another guard.
I know, we do. That's
That's
fantastic. I'm glad you guys are starting to catch up with the bigs. I can't believe the bigs are outrunning you guys. That doesn't usually happen like that, Sonny.
Jason. There's a lot of big love in this group, and it's killing me sometimes, man.
No, we got to get more guards. Get more guards involved.
Got to help me out. Give me
Yeah,
some guards.
yeah. Well, I'm sure he will. Hey, listen, Sonny, and not only that, but we are back in Pittsburgh with the Panthers. So one of our guests today, without any further ado, was a 3-time All Big East player, scored over 1,800 points, Sonny. And unlike your friends over there, the Orange Men, he shot 90% from the foul line. So, you guys could have gotten a few lessons from our guests.
Characteristics of my boys, that's for sure.
1,800 points. He's 6th all-time leading scorer at Pittsburgh. The great Pittsburgh legend, Jason Matthews. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to talking to you today about your experiences and your career and stuff. So we're looking forward to that. So we were talking off air a little bit about that you actually follow what we do and follow the show and watch it and stuff. We appreciate that. And we were talking about friendships and being part of a team. I think when we get into this thing, it's amazing the bonds that we have that we didn't even know we had, right, Sonny? I mean, we're friends with guys that we played with and against, that because they went through the same experience as you of playing in the conference. Only thing that was different was the color of the shirt that you were wearing. So it's do you find that? Are you friendly with guys from outside the Pittsburgh team, and do you still hang around with your Pittsburgh teammates, your former teammates?
Yeah, absolutely. I do both. A lot of the East Coast guys I got to know from playing in the Boston Shootout when I was in high school and going to 5-star as well. So I had some pre-existing relationships with some of the Big East guys. And then I had high school teammate Earl Duncan that played at Syracuse.
Yep.
And I knew Stevie Thompson as well from the LA area, Crenshaw High School. And through those two guys, I got to know Derek Coleman, and Derek and I to this day still communicate on a pretty regular basis. Knew Eric Murdoch in high school, got to know Chris Watts, as well. Friends with a lot of the guys in the Big East. I just had the long-term view. For me, I realized that, 15, 20, 25 years down the road, I would be in a fraternity, with these guys. So I never said or did anything that could compromise those long-term friendships, even though we were competing. Alonzo Mourning and I were roommates at 5-star. And
oh, wow.
I always tease him saying, for 3 years, you never spoke to me. I thought we were cool. He's like, Jay, Big John didn't play that. We were barely allowed to shake your hand after the game. And I just saw him at NBA Summer League this past summer. So I do keep up with, a lot of the guys that I played against, and also my Pitt teammates, Bobby Martin, Sean Miller, Darrell Porter and I just went to the first and second round of the NCAA tournament in Greensboro, North Carolina, to support Sean. Hung out with him there, and then we went on to the Sweet 16 in Kansas City, and Xavier ended up losing to Texas. So we still have those tight relationships. Talk to Coach Calipari all the time. We got to see him in Greensboro as well because Kentucky played at that site. So we got to hang out with him as well, and Brian Shorter and Bobby Martin, close to them as well. So it's important to me to keep those relationships. Talk to Charles Smith, Jerome Lane, Demetrius Gore, I was really close to. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah.
Yeah, Rod Brooken as well. May he rest in peace. But we were pretty tight knit group. Pitt guys, even the younger players that were freshmen when we were upperclassmen, still close with guys like Chris McNeil and Jerry McCullough and Gandhi Jordan, Antoine Jones, all those guys.
Do those guys get together as a group, Jason? Do they, does the school bring those guys back as part of,
Yeah.
any kind of...
Yeah, in the summertime, like in July, Coach Capel's done a good job with bringing the guys back since he's been there. Every July, there's a big event for guys to come back and things of that nature. But even before that was being done, when I was being recruited by Pitt, I read the media guide. So I knew guys like Don Hennon, the all-time leading scorer, who became a surgeon, big time, scorer with no 3-point line, no shot clock. Like I wanted to meet Don Hennon. And when I finally got to meet Don Hennon, I was like so happy to meet him. Like, dude, how did you score 2,000 points with no shot clock and no 3-point line? So I've always studied the history, in high school, Big Monday, everybody would rush home early because of the 3-hour time difference in Los Angeles. We'd rush home to see Big Monday, Pearl, like you said, Sonny, watching Pearl, Tony Bruin, Eric Sandifer, Raphael Addison, Wendell Alexis, all those guys, Georgetown, Michael Graham and Reggie Williams and obviously Patrick Ewing and those guys. So, Walter Berry, Chris Mullen, Mark Jackson, like Ron Rowan, like I can you name a team, I could like
on and on, right?
hit at least 5 or 6 guys for Villanova, Boston College, John Bagley, Michael Adams. Like I was just a student of it, even before I got to the Big East.
You mentioned Coach Cal. I don't know if everybody knows, but Coach Cal was integral and intimate into recruiting you, right?
Very integral. I mean, if you look at the players that he was able to bring to Pitt while he was there, just tremendous, all league players, some NBA players. And the 5 of us were actually his last recruiting class before he went on to get his first head coaching job at UMass.
Mm-hmm.
But he's
number one recruiting class in the country.
Yeah, number 1 recruiting class in the country. And I think we are still the only recruiting class of at least 5 players that scored at least 1,000 points each and all got our college degrees. I think we are the last ones to do that. I don't think anyone's broken that yet.
Nice.
Pretty good.
What was it like, California? Because I think you were the first big California recruit to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was the first Cali kid to really I think the first top 100 player, top 60 player to go to Pitt. For me, I wanted to go away from home. I wanted to go away from home for college. I was getting recruited in a lot of West Coast schools, West Coast, a lot of Big Ten schools as well, a lot of Big Ten schools, Michigan State, Iowa, Purdue, a lot of Big Ten, a lot of Southwest Conference when that was around as well. But I always wanted to play against the best. That was what I wanted to do. And so the Big East was the best conference at that time. And a lot of my exposure came from my high school teammate, Earl Duncan, being the top, 20 player, top 25 player in the country. So our high school gym was filled with ACC, Big East, Big Ten, like they were all there. And then we had this spring league and summer league called Slam and Jam, where all the top West Coast players would come and play in Slam and Jam. And that was the days where we all played. Like there was no There was no by, oh, I can't go and play
Football.
because anything of that nature. So it was great.
So you talked about you went out to play in the Boston Shootout. That's a long way from home for you
Yes.
guys, man. I mean, you're going all the way across the country to get runs, but that's where you had to go to get all the good runs.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, I do have a question for you. Like, where did you guys play growing up? Like in New York, I'm a New York guy, a Long Island guy. We would play in the parks all the time.
Mhm.
I've been out to the Santa Monica Pier. I've been out to Venice Beach. I've played on those courts when my son CJ was a kid, just because it was all over his video games. Is that where you grew up playing out there on the beach with those guys? And what were the runs like there?
So UCLA men's gym was as you know, still is a
Mhm.
historic place. So there were some serious games because we have three courts. So you had a
Right.
high school court, a college court, and pro court. So even the high school players would come up there and play. Fortunately, my high school coach, Coach Clem's, phenomenal guy. Uh, he would always give the top senior access to our gym. And our high school gym is kind of historic, and you'll find a lot of NBA teams when they come in town to play the Lakers and Clippers. They
Yeah.
actually practice at our high school. A lot of NBA guys work out there. Skill development guys work out at our high school. We have a nice high school gym, good location. So a lot of players would come to my high school gym and play. We play at Rogers Park in Inglewood. We used to play at this park, Roxbury in Beverly Hills. We played everywhere. We played Slam and Jam, Victoria Park. We played at Jesse Owens. There's probably about 6 or 7 good spots all around the city, and we would communicate. This is before mobile phones.
Right.
We would
Right.
actually communicate with one another, like on Saturday from 10 to 4, this is where we're playing.
Right.
Monday through Thursday, UCLA's men's gym. And so we always communicated, and you would always get the best of the best. Like no one was ducking anybody.
Yeah.
And you would always get, the best of the best. And especially at Slam and Jam. I mean, Stacey Augman, you know, Earl Duncan, Stevie Thompson, you get Don McClain, Tracy Murray, Earl Duncan, you're getting everybody.
Right.
James Moses that went to Iowa. You're getting Derek Martin that went to UCLA, played in the NBA. You're getting everyone, Slam and Jam, and they were just going at it. We're just going hard.
So at UCLA, did you have to be invited to be able to get into those runs with the big time players? Is that like, did they have like a pro court or we had the pros all did their thing, right? And
Yeah.
then you had to move up, right? I guess as you got better.
Correct.
So that had to be that. I mean, who were some of the guys you got to play with there? That had to be something.
It was all the UCLA players,
Sure.
they were there. Sean Higgins, Chris Mills, Earl Duncan, Stevie Thompson, Ed O'Bannon.
But some of the pros that were there, like
Magic.
they let you go.
Magic.
Magic lived there. I know that.
Magic was there every day. Worthy, Hakeem Olajuwon, Derek McKee, Kenny Smith.
That's gonna be unbelievable.
When you walked in, it could be anybody. I mean, literally, when you walked in, like the day I saw Hakeem Olajuwon, I was like, wow, like Hakeem Olajuwon's here. I was like, okay. Then you had Reggie Miller, so Reggie Miller was playing every day too.
Well, yeah. But you had no choice but to get better. You're playing against guys like that. I mean, what an advantage for your game, man. I mean, I can't even imagine that,
And what was really cool is a lot of the pros would sit us down, afterwards and just talk about life, not just basketball, just talk about life. And I'm still really good friends with Byron Scott. Byron was there a lot. He and Magic and the guys, they would just talk to us, about life. And then as you got older, a pro would pick you to kind of take you under their wing to kind of show you the ropes. And Magic, Byron Scott and Kenny Smith were like my three guys that kind of took, and also Lester Connor as well. and Darwin Cook. Those guys kind of really took to say, Jason, if you want to be a pro, this is really what it's all about. And they would, work me out and do skill development stuff with me. And also John Williams as well. John's from the LA area. I'm still good friends with John Williams that played at LSU and obviously played in the NBA for the Washington Bullets back in the day. All those guys, just great guys.
That had to be a blast, man. I couldn't even imagine. So
well, I say this to people a lot, and this is very true about LA basketball, and I'm sure it's about, hotbeds like New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas. Yeah. I tell people all the time, like in high school, we understood who the pros were. We used to play in my backyard. Sean Higgins, Chris Mills, myself, we played one-on-one. My other friends, we played one-on-one in my backyard. Like they would walk to my house. My mom would like make food, hot dogs and all that kind of stuff. And we would just go at it for like 5-6 hours playing one-on-one, in my backyard. So I tell people to this day, like I had a real understanding of what a pro was when I was in high school because of the talent level. Stacey Augmon played like point forward in high school. It's like 6'8", could handle the ball, could get to the basket, could rebound, could block shots. He was playing like point forward. Sean Higgins was a 6'9" shooting guard. He can shoot just as good as me, probably handle better than me, but he was 6 inches taller than me. So you have a real, Chris Mills, 6'7", he could do everything. Rebound, handle, defend. My high school teammate, Brian Williams, Bison Daly, may he rest in peace. He's freaking 6'10", athletic, like dunking everything.
Yeah.
There was a real, a realness about, you're going to have a great college career, but being an NBA player is going to be a little difficult. So that's what I explained to people that like LA at that time, man, there was nobody that wouldn't come from 100 miles away to come in and play. I mean, we had players from like Northern California coming in to play. Gerald Madkins would come down and play. Gerald, phenomenal college player, and became a good pro. But Gerald would come down from Merced, California, down to Slam and Jam to play.
Now, how did you get to Pitt though? What did Coach Cal? What was the magic? Because everybody's got a good Coach Cal story. You got to have got to have a story about him driving up some sidewalk somewhere, talking his way out of a ticket, and getting around that, and all of a sudden smoozing your mother, your grandma, your family, right? Like sitting down. Oh, this is the kind of food I eat all the time. There's got to be some Coach Cal, some charm.
I have a lot of great Coach Cal stories, but here's the Jason Matthews recruiting story. So my high school would send our top senior to 5-star every year. So I didn't get to go to 5-star until the summer before my senior year. So a lot of East Coast schools didn't really know about me until the Boston Shootout. So the Boston Shootout was early in the summer. So the East Coast schools were kind of like, who is this kid? Like we haven't really followed him, or he's on the LA team on LA Rockfish, like Then I go to 5-star like 2 weeks later, and I'm a competitive guy, so I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at all the shooting guards that are supposed to be better than me, right? So I'm like, okay, I have something to prove. First game at 5-star. Play against Jay Edwards. And let me qualify this and say, to this day, ever since that day at 5-star, me and Jay Edwards have been good friends. But I literally picked up Jay Edwards full court the entire game. Full court the entire game. And after that first game, Billy Bano comes up to me, introduces himself. Well, Billy Bano was Coach Cal's guy. So basically, as I found out as the week went on, Billy Bano basically shunned anyone talking to me. So Coach Bano started asking me like, would you come to the East Coast and play? But he never said Pitt. He never said Coach Cal's name. He never said Pitt. He was just like, would you come to the East Coast and play? Like, would you be willing? Are you interested in playing in the Big East? He's asking me all these questions. And I'm like, yeah, Big East is the top conference, of course, And that's what happened. And so then when the recruiting period opened back up after the summer, and then Coach Cal was at every one of my games at 5-star. Like after that first game, he was there, made sure I saw him. You couldn't have any contact, but he was sitting right in the front row, making eye contact for the entire week. And so I made the All-Star game the first week. Total surprise. No one expected me to make it or whatever. I made the All-Star game. All-Star game, Garth is literally cussing me out saying, you played great all week. Play great now. I'm like, I didn't say this, but I'm like, Garth, these guys have no intent of passing the ball. I said, I have no opportunity to get a rebound because I'm 6'3". You got Sean Kemp. You got all these guys. Like, what rebound am I going to get? Like, I'm not going to get a rebound. So I asked my parents if I could stay a second week. So I ended up staying a second week. I played really well the second week. Got MVP at the All-Star game. Me and Rick Fox became good friends from going to Pitt together, and we're still good friends to this day. But that's how I got to Pitt. Was Cal put Billy Bano on the job and basically guarded me the whole time I was there. And then when recruiting opened back up, then Coach Cal just like, but he never said, you're gonna get playing time or you're gonna start or you're gonna, he's like, you come in, work hard, you'll play. And me, I'm competitive, so I'm gonna do beyond what's expected, of me to be able to play. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but starting backcourt was Rod Brooken and Mike Goodson.
Yeah.
So when we came in, they had just won the Big East championship, And so I had no expectations to play more than 5 minutes as a freshman. And I was okay with that. I was like, freshman year, I won't really play. No big deal. Sophomore, I'll get more time. And then by the time I'm a junior, I'll probably be starting. What no one expected was for the starting backcourt to be academically ineligible. And that's how Sean Miller and I end up being a starting backcourt. And then Darrell Porter being the combo guard, coming in to sub either one of us out. And that's how that happened.
Wow. So you go all the way out, you go all the way across the country to Pittsburgh, a little bit different, right? Than sunny California.
A lot different.
How did that affect you, Jason? Listen, I've been to Pittsburgh a million times, so has Sonny. It's not exactly a warm, bright, sunny place.
It's not LA.
It's more like Syracuse.
It's not Santa Monica Pier.
Santa Monica, brother.
It's not Venice Beach. It's not
talk
close.
about that. How did that affect you, when you got over there? Is that I'm assuming it's your first time really away from home other than camp, right?
Yeah.
So talk about that, what that's like.
Well, I got a taste of it when I went to 5-star. But that was the summertime. I went for 2 weeks, Pitt 1, Pitt 2. Then I took my visit in like October. So it was still like 50, 45, 50 degrees.
Football game?
Yeah, football game, of course. Bobby Martin and I on our visit together. That's where he and I met. And obviously we're still best friends to this day. I was actually okay until the end of the season. Once the season ended, then the seasonal challenges hit me. Like, it's no more practice, just school. It's cold still. Then I became homesick. So right after school got out, like 6 weeks after the school got out, like second, third week of April, I took the first thing smoking back to LA. I spent my first summer in LA, and the coaches didn't have a problem with it because LA had a very good college summer league, like very good college, like Eldon Campbell, all the LA kids come back home in the summer and we just go at it all summer, whether it's UCLA men's gym, the college summer league or pickup, it didn't matter. We all came back and we would just go at it. So, really that last month, it kind of hit me. But the excitement my freshman year, traveling, Big East, you hit a lot of the major East Coast cities. It's new to me. It's fun. Our coaches let you get out and explore a little bit. So that part of it was good for me. But the last month, I was like, yeah, I need to go home. And I had a good summer, lifted, worked on my game. Coaching staff knew I was disciplined, came back a better player, played against top competition, because of the LA College Summer League, working out every day. I got access because I knew the UCLA coaching staff. I had access to their weight room and would do skill work with my best friend, Josh Oppenheimer, who played at Rhode Island. He's now assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks. We've been best friends since fourth grade. And we were always workout partners in high school. So we would work out together. And he's the one that actually convinced me to play basketball because I was a really good baseball player. Thought I was going to go to college on a baseball scholarship. But Josh convinced me to play basketball. So he's responsible for that.
Yeah. People don't realize basketball, unlike other college sports, right, Jason, basketball is 2 semesters. So you're there during Christmas break. You're there, when no one else is in school, when everybody's, spring break, you're still there. It's got to be tough because I played with a guy named Wyatt Maker who was from Salinas.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, I remember Wyatt Maker.
And why would it would kill him that he couldn't go back, to the sunshine, and it was it had to be tough for you, because besides that, the winters there, were just crazy. I mean, it's just, it's tough. It's tougher than people understand, because you're there. There's nobody on campus but the men's and the women's basketball team base. Essentially, that's about it, right?
Right. Yeah. So I was fortunate. Our recruiting class was really tight. Like Darrell Porter picked me up from the airport. When I flew into Pittsburgh, I met Darrell Porter the first day. And that really meant a lot. Pittsburgh kid, loved throughout the city, all league in 3 sports, high school, phenomenal athlete. And so Sean Miller and Darrell Porter, being from the Pittsburgh area, they took me everywhere. So I wasn't really, quote unquote, alone. I wasn't stuck on campus. And then
you were a local homeboy at that point.
Yeah. They took me around everywhere. And then my high school coach's parents were from Pittsburgh. How about that? My high school coach's parents lived in Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's recruiting advantage to Pitt. That's what Coach Cal's recruiting. That's what it's.
Lovely couple. And so Coach Cal used that slam with my high school coach. We'll make sure your parents,
Coach Cal.
Take care of Jason. They start working on my parents. Coach Clem's parents are there. Jason will be fine. But when I got there, Sean and Darrell embraced me. Mr. and Mrs. Clem, lovely couple, loved me to death like their own son. Took care of me. So I had some really good people, and also former players like Curtis Aiken took me under his wing right away. Current players, I could always count on Jerome Lane and Demetrius Gore to take me and Bobby Martin out. They would come by, pick us up, take us to the mall, take us to the restaurant, take us to eat. Yeah. So that meant a lot to us, and it made my freshman year a lot easier. And I was really, really close to Demetrius and Jerome my freshman year. As far as
I got to talk about Jerome now, because that is probably the most signature college basketball play in history. And the Bill Raftery call, send it in, Jerome. Like, was that as big on your campus as it was on every other campus?
Yeah.
You were in the game when that happened. You were trailing the play, right?
I was the first one to hug him after he broke the backboard. I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, when you watch the clip, watch the first player to hug him was your dad. That's my claim to fame on the play. And the other thing is, I was literally mad at Sean for not passing me the ball.
Right.
Until I saw what happened. Once I saw what happened, I'm like, I'm glad he didn't pass me the ball. As we're running down the court, I'm like, I'm open. Like, I'm open. And I remember being like, I'm open. And then once I saw what happened, obviously, I'm very happy he did not pass me the ball. But everyone was stunned for like 3 seconds. Like it was silence for like 3 seconds because people were trying to realize that I actually just witnessed this. And then after that 3 seconds, then it was an uproar.
Oh, it was
Carlton
bedtime.
screams, picking glass out of his hair. I'm overlooking at Eric Murdoch, like, yeah, he just did that. I'm looking at Chris Watts, like, okay, y'all still want to play? You sure?
That
But we
was
ended up winning by 25 or 30.
yeah.
It's tough to come back from something like that.
Well, it made Jerome famous, that's for sure. I mean, that's all anybody talked about the whole rest of his career with that kind of stuff. So it's pretty wild.
And still to this day, I mean, I have glass from the backboard still. And what I love, the two things I really love about Jerome still to this day. First week of practice, he came up to me. He said, Jay, every time you get it and you think you're open, shoot it. I'll get the rebound. I'll just pass it back to you. So he wanted to make me feel comfortable fitting into, playing with two All-Americans.
Right.
He wanted to make sure that I felt welcome, but he literally said, every time you think you're open, shoot it. If you don't make it, don't worry about it. I'll get the rebound, just pass it right back to you. And that started our close friendship of him being like, he's one of my favorite teammates.
You know what Clyde Vaughn would have said, right?
Don't let the freshman shoot.
That's right. That's right. If I get it to you, it was an accident. Get it back to me. I score.
Right. He said you could. He told us right here on the show, Jason. He said he would tell guys, you can go ahead and get yourself the assist. I get the buckets around here. If you go pass me the ball, you'll get an assist.
Exactly.
That's what he said. Exactly. He's crazy. Yeah. So, talk about Demetrius for a minute, because he gave us such a hard time, man. He played so hard, I remember he was athletic, he could slash, he could shoot. Ambidextrous. That's what killed us. Like, we really had a hard time with lefties, and he went left a lot. He went, he can go either way, man, but he always gave us a tough time, especially in Sonny's favorite gym, the Palestra. He did a number on us in there. So talk about Demetrius for a minute.
So my first basketball on the court encounter was, we were playing pickup in the summertime. Right when I came late because I was in LA working out, playing in summer league. So I didn't graduate high school and then come right out to Pitt right away. I stayed until like a week before school started. So no one really knew who I was. Really on the team, no one really knew. They hadn't seen me play. They didn't know who I was. So I show up first day. They're like, Demetrius, like, you got me. Man, he was making left-hand mid-range jumpers, right-hand mid-range jumpers, pump fake, one dribble step, just like, it was bad the very first day. It was just, I literally could like not do anything at all with him. And it was my indoctrination. They just kept feeding him the ball. And he was just one-on-one. And at that point, I said, this guy is a pro. Like, this guy is a pro. Like, I know what it looks like. I've been in UCLA men's gym and watched NBA players up close. I'm like, this dude is a pro. Unfortunately, early in the season, he sprained his ankle really bad and never recuperated from that sprained ankle.
Yeah.
But, man, phenomenal player, phenomenal teammate. Like, I voluntarily, I was honored to carry his bag on the road. Like, I carried his bag on the road. Like, I'm like, I got your bag. And he literally treated me like a little brother. And up until his untimely death, we were really close, and our daughters even played on the same like little basketball team when they were like 6 or 7 years old. His daughter and my daughter, they were on the same team, and he would come to the games and we would sit and talk and everything. Like, did you ever believe that we would be watching our daughters play on the same team like you and I did? So it was really, really special. Candidly, I'm still very heartbroken. Still hurts a lot.
You know, he had an infectious personality, man. He was a fun guy to be around. He was, and listen, if I had one conversation with him, it was during a game. It wasn't like any kind of, but when I heard about when he passed and how he passed, you know, I was just like, whoa, you know, it just took the air out of you, Jason. You know what I mean? Even because we had so much respect for him because he would do basically whatever he wanted against us, you know.
Charles Smith talked about him quite a
Charlie,
bit.
yeah, Charlie loved him, you know, and you know, all the other guys that played with him mentioned them with great fondness, you know. So it's, you know, be thankful you had him in your life for as long as you did, you know, because guys like that don't come around too often, and it's pretty special stuff, you know. So
yeah, we had a very special celebration of life for him. The guys asked me to MC it because they understood how close we were, and I did good up until the last 2 minutes with the closing remarks. I just couldn't make it. I couldn't do it. I just had to walk off.
Wow, that's tough.
Special guy, man. Love him to death. Miss him every day.
Wow. I want to change just for 1 second. In your travels in the Big East, one or two top opponents that you faced that you guarded or guarded you, who were like one or two of those guys that you were not in awe of, but you knew it was going to be on that night?
Well, my favorite player to play against was Derek Coleman because he would dominate and talk mess, and because we were friends.
No. He talked trash? No.
Yeah, he would talk trash to me running down the court after he made a play, or if he got lucky and blocked my shot. So it was always
Wait, say that one more time. If he what?
If he got lucky.
Okay, that's what I thought you said.
As far as guards, Eric Murdoch and I always very competitive against one another. Even being friends, when we stepped on the court, Eric and I would always go at it. Chris Smith from UConn is another good friend. Chris and I respected each other. We would go at it. I knew it was going to be a night.
Great scorer.
Those two guys, playing against those two guys. Doug West would just give me fits. I couldn't guard him. He was 2 inches taller than me, and he was just super athletic. I tried, but I just couldn't guard Doug West.
He's with the Sixers now, Jason. He's coaching with the Sixers. Yeah.
Doug always gave me John Morton. You know, when I was a freshman.
John Morton, Seton Hall.
Long arms.
Long. He's a long guard. Yep.
He gave me problems. Dana Barros, just too quick, too much range. You know, he gave us like 43 one night at the Fieldhouse. So there was some guards, man. There was some great guards. So my favorite player, DC. I love playing against DC. You know, the Georgetown games were great. You know, couldn't really score in the paint with the Kimbe and Alonzo. Every time I made a three, Alonzo would get mad, start yelling at the Georgetown guards. So I would kind of make a three and kind of glance over at him. They would kind of threaten me. Jay, stop looking at me. And he'd be like, Jay, don't come to the hole. You better stay on the perimeter. Don't come to the hole. So I was still good friends with Chris Walker from Villanova.
Yeah.
Love playing against Chris. He was fun to play against. Yeah, man, it's just a great time. And I say this to a lot of people that when I look back on it, I still cannot believe that Jason Matthews had the opportunity to play in the Big East at that time and not just play, but actually do well.
Yeah.
You know, like scoring over 1,800 points in the Big East, like you're taking a lot of bumps, bruises, you're getting beat up. That's not an easy 1,800 plus. Like that's not easy.
No, you got scars to prove it.
Yes, yes, I do. I have stitches. I have stitches and scars to prove it. Yeah,
that's right.
That's true. So on your 4 years, Jason, you made the tournament 3 times, I believe, right? In the 4 years, right? First year, you guys were regular season Big East champs. You had Charlie, you had Demetrius, that whole crew, right?
Yeah.
And then in the tournament, who got you? Syracuse get you?
You guys. No, you
We
guys.
did.
Mark
Yeah,
Plansky
well,
hit this lucky jump shot.
well, that's what Mark does once in a while, and he'll let you know too. Believe me, I'm still very close with Mark.
I haven't heard that story yet.
I'm still looking for Mark today. I'm still looking for Mark today.
Really? I can hook you up with him after the show. That's not a problem. So yeah, Mark was a pretty good player. I didn't realize. I thought, because I knew Syracuse won that year. I think they got they won the tournament that year.
We made it to the final.
And then you went in. Then you went in and you lost in the second round. What, you guys kind of had you had a good seed, right? You were like a 2 seed, weren't you?
They gave us the golden ticket to the Final Four. We were in the least competitive bracket, the Midwest bracket, and that's the year Kansas ended up. Danny Manning just dominated, and they ended up winning.
Right.
We beat Eastern Michigan, Grant Long. We beat them in the second round. We played Vanderbilt with Will Purdue and Barry Brooker and those guys. And then Barry Goheen made that lucky shot to tie it up, and we ended up losing in overtime.
Yeah, the tournament was always a challenge, and we've talked about this with several guys that have been on. When you're playing somebody that's not used to playing the style of ball that was played in the Big East, I think you had a distinct advantage. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Because, especially when you're playing a team like Georgetown and they're pressing from end to end the whole time, and if you're not used to that, the pressure, you were in big trouble. I mean, so the Big East teams did fairly well during that period of time in the NCAA tournament, and
also the physicality. I think the physicality made a difference as well, because in the Big East, the one year, I think it may have been my sophomore or junior year, the Big East had to go to 6 fouls for league play.
That's right.
Due to I think ESPN may have made a call and said, "Hey, we can't have these stars fouling out, in extra fouls." I think
that's right.
Mr. Gavin a phone call. Mr. Gavin said, "Okay, let me see what we can do about that."
Well, if you ask Sonny and I, the Georgetown guys had at least 6 fouls each. That some of them weren't called, right?
Yeah, and then the second half was different, but that was the first half.
8 per half. Yeah. Playing against Mark Tillman and Dwayne Bryant, I was pretty sore after those Georgetown games.
Yeah. Yep. Chris Mullen used to say they throw the ball up in the air, ref throws the ball up in the air, and all the Georgetown guys foul everybody at once. They can only call one foul.
Only call one.
I agree with Mully on that. I agree with Mully on that.
Mully had that one right, I think.
Yes.
So then your last year you were ranked pretty high too. You were a 6 seed in the tournament, right?
Yeah, lost in the second round.
And then you ran into Kansas though. They were a buzzsaw, Who was on that team?
For Kansas?
Yeah.
Mark Randall was their best player.
Was their guy, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Randall was their guy. And I was familiar with Mark because Mark's from the Denver area, so I was familiar with him in high school and knew he could really play.
Okay. So
what are you up to these days, Jason?
I'm just going to say that. We're right here, Sonny.
We've been doing this a little too long.
Yeah, for 28 years, been a full-time real estate investor. When I stopped playing, well, actually, when I was in college, I used to intern at investment banking firms on Wall Street with my brother's best friend. So kind of learned about the capital markets. So I had an interest in that. And when I stopped playing, became a licensed financial planner. And during that time, started investing in real estate, started learning about real estate. One of my best friends, Doug Dorsey, started investing a couple years before I did. He kind of showed me the game. And Pitt alumni like John Pelusi and people like that kind of just took me under their wing. A lot of people showed me the real estate game, and I fell in love with it. So the last 28 years, that's what I've been doing. My wife has 24 years of real estate investment experience as well. So between the two of us, we have over 50 years experience.
That's great.
Nice.
Well, we're running up against it, but I do want to ask you one last thing. We talked about it prior to the show. Talk about your son Brandon and his relationship with the USF Bulls down in Florida, University of
University of South Florida. Yep.
South Florida.
Absolutely. So Orlando Antigua, good friend of mine that played at Pitt right after I did. When he got the head coaching job at USF, he called me up. He's like, Jay, we have great programs for my nephew on our campus. Bring him to campus when he gets out of school.
Right.
So at the time, Brandon was in the 9th grade. So that was in April when Orlando got the job. So June, we went right away, took Brandon to campus. He walked around campus. He loved it. He's walking around like big man on campus, gigantic smile on his face. And I just called my wife and I said, babe, like, this is what we're doing. Like, he loves it here. Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so my wife and then my brother, I have an older brother, Rodney, they start doing research on all the programs on campus. And we all said once, Brandon finished high school, myself, my daughter, Taylor, I have 2 daughters, Taylor and Marina. So my wife and I said, we're moving all 3 kids to Tampa for Brandon's next step in life. And we've been here 6 years, and we thank him every day for moving us to Tampa and all the great lifestyle we have and all the fun. And they love him. This is his 7th season. He's known all over campus, all over the city, fans, the alumni. Even when
the kids on the team really embrace him, right? I mean, for people that don't know, Brandon's got autism, right?
Yes.
So he's part of the team as a team manager. Is that what he does officially?
Yeah.
But I saw the interviews, and I was to me, I love that stuff, man. I love when we had guys and kids that would come around, and all the guys were great, to those kids, and and I could see when they're talking about them, the current players, that whenever that video, I don't know if it was this year or last year, I don't remember when the video. Yeah, but all the kids, you can see their face light up when they talk about them, and they really loved it. They really love them, which that's got to make anybody feel special. I mean, that's got to be, you got to be very proud to be a part of a program like that takes care of kids like your son. I mean, I think that was just wonderful. Really, really do.
It's very special. They understand his gift of positivity, his gift of showing up on time. He plays in the manager games.
Really?
Yeah, he plays in the manager. Oh yeah,
Listen, I don't know if they were using trick photography, Jason, but the kid didn't miss a shot. I mean, I was watching. He did not miss a shot. And he was
we got to get him some NIL money, man. We got to get him a little bit of that.
Wait a minute. I'm watching the video, and I'm really into the story, And all of a sudden, I said, he hasn't missed yet. I go, and they're not using the same, because he was shooting at different spots,
Yeah, he can shoot it.
He can. I was like, wow.
The former coaching staff used to joke and say he's our best shooter, on our team, But the new coaching staff, Coach Amir, the new coaches, they've embraced him as well.
That's
all
great.
The players have embraced him, and great athletic director Mike Kelly and his staff. USF Athletics, they love him. They just love it all over campus, and we'll never take it away from him. And he'll spend the rest of his life, on campus, because he has so much opportunity beyond basketball. Get ready to start a part-time IT job on campus as well. And it gives us comfort. This is a plan that my wife and I have for him to make it easy for his 2 younger sisters to manage and monitor what he's doing, as he gets older. And so he'll be on USF's campus for the rest of his life.
What's better than that, man? I mean, that's awesome. And that's what it's all about, as Coach Massimino would say. That's a famous Rollyism. So, well, listen, Jason, thank you for taking your time out with us and spending time with Sonny and I. We really, truly appreciate you coming out. And, we covered a lot of ground today. So for everything from playing against the pros at UCLA right on through Pittsburgh and your family, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for spending some time with us today on the Big East Rewind.
Appreciate you guys having me on. I'll be remiss if I didn't mention Anthony Avent. Anthony's a good friend as well. Love playing against Anthony Avent. Good dude.
Well, listen, you've mentioned about 37 players that 35 of them we would love to have on.
We would love to have on the show. I was just going to say,
so we've been trying to track down DC. Anthony Avent, I have a number. I know it's good. And I know he's talked to other people. So it's so funny how some of these guys are still very elusive, and whether they're big guys or guards, it doesn't matter. Patrick Ewing had some good moves too until we had to double team him. And then that was it for him. We finally got him on. But, we'll have to talk after the show about getting some of your boys to come out and hang with us.
Yeah, Jason, I got to get your contact info because I have family down in that area. And I was actually born in Tampa, but
really?
Great area. Yeah.
Wow.
My dad was an IBMer, so we were in Tampa for a total of 6 months of my life, but 3 years my dad was there. So
I'll definitely send that to you. And if I can help getting guys on, just ask me, guys from my era. If I have a relationship with them, then I'll definitely try to motivate them to
all good.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
So you've been listening to the Big East. You've been listening to the Big East Rewind with Chuck Everson and Sonny Sparrow. The Big East Rewind was produced and directed by Nick Chico Corus and Daryl Gurney, and our new friends at Boundless Ventures has been working with us to improve some of the things that we've been doing here. So we appreciate what they do for us too. And you could check out any of our social media pages by putting Big East Rewind in the search bar. We ask you to subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Thanks a lot for joining us. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.